You know the rest. Come chat with DP. Call me Damian Phillips. Yeah. So if you see your girl's phone and it's my name DP, don't feel no way. Or just the habit. Politics, politics, it doesn't matter, me I go talk. Bringing light to the lost so you will get it. DP is my name, please don't spoil it. Big up Portland, St. Thomas, Jamaica and America. America, come listen my show. On the corner me I bring, come chat, voice your concerns. As I share everything, just know it's a general knowledge. Yeah, views expressed, you know the rest. Come chat with DP, call me Damian Phillips. Yeah. Come listen my the economy I bring, come chat, voice your concerns. As I share everything, just know it's a general knowledge. VP is my name, please don't spoil it. Big up Portland, St. Thomas, Jamaica and America, come listen my show. On the economy I bring, come chat, voice your concerns. As I share everything, just know it's a general knowledge. Just know it's a general knowledge. Views expressed, you know the rest. Come chat with DP. Call me Damian Phillips. Whoa, ooh yeah. Phillips. Call me Damian Phillips. Yeah. Yeah, DP stands for Damian Phillips. Ooh, ooh, ooh. All who never know get with it. So if you see your girl phone, let me say good evening and thanks for joining me. My name is Damian Phillips. And I'm here every Monday night from 9 o'clock until sometime you say when. But no promises. So I'm live on Vibes Corner Radio. This is my home radio wise. And of course, I'm live on my YouTube channel. That's DP Live. I'm also live on my TikTok page and I'm live on Facebook. So let me say good evening again. Thanks for joining me. And I hope you guys had a blessed day. I hope your week started well and all of that. So what I'm looking at tonight, I'm asking you a question. If you think Mark Golding is fit, Golding is fit to be the leader of the opposition, we already know that he's not fit to be the prime minister. In fact, Jamaica has spoken um, to say no, we don't want Mark as our prime minister. And I know when truth like that is being spoken, it ruffle up some feathers and the people take offense to it. But if you don't like the truth, something is wrong with you, right? The Jamaican people have spoken that they do not want Mark Jefferson Golden to be their prime minister. People toss around this term that about democratic country. Not in all cases, because Jamaica did not choose Mark Golden as the leader of the opposition, although is the king's leader of the opposition. But is he fit? I'm going to point out to several reasons why I think he's unfit. So again, let me say good evening. Thanks for joining me. DP, your live is muted. All right. So I don't know why am I mute. I was just about to ask if somebody can let me know if you're hearing. So let's do this and do this. I may just have to mix minus. I may just have to go without my board. Am I still muted? Mark is disgusting. uh, yeah, I know easy now. Am I still muted on TikTok? Let me know. Let me know, please. Can somebody let me know? Hearing me now. Please let me know if I am still muted because this should have changed. Um, yeah, let me know somebody. Can you hear me? Can you hear me or no? All right. So in the meantime, I figure this out. Let's for my viewers on Vibes Corner Radio and for those of you who are um listening on or watching, I should say, on what's wrong with your audio. All right, so let's do this. Let's drop it since that's not allowing us to do that. All right, let's do that. Make the people them but I'm sure can, but I'm sure either. All right. You're hearing me now? Audio is bad. That's what somebody say. You hearing me now? Because I that is something that I should have fixed earlier. And but it was working last night. But anyways, you guys should be hearing me now on loud and clear. Okay, good. That's what I want to see. So everything is up and running on my TikTok page. All right. So let's do this. Let me prove to you why I say Mark Golden is unfit to be the leader of the opposition. Maybe the party president, but not the leader of the opposition.
Minister Williams' critique of the opposition's budget proposals. She turned her attention to discrepancies between the opposition spokesperson on finance and the leader's comments.
I'll pause the opposition spokesman of finance and turn my attention to the leader of the opposition. Demonstrate how unhinged are the many proposals that the leader of the opposition has put forward. He identified revenues of about 2% of GDP from compliance. Our projected GDP for fiscal year 2026-27 is $3 trillion, $857 billion. And so 2% of that would be approximately $77 billion. And if you could make the screen larger so that they could see it. So, Madam Speaker, if the opposition leader identified 77 billion of new revenues from compliance, why then would the opposition spokesman on finance need to borrow any money at all?
I think it's a medium term.
Speaker, Madam Speaker, it appears the left hand is not coordinating with the right hand. Madam Speaker, a Prime Minister in waiting and a Finance Minister in waiting are possibly not talking. What can go so?
Minister Williams' critique of the opposition's budget proposals. She turned her attention to discrepancies between the opposition spokesperson on finance and the leader's comments.
I'll pause the opposition spokesman of finance.
Shadow spokesman and finance is not talking, and you'd want to wonder, as the minister say, what can go so. But let me jump now to something that I find disgusting. And if you people don't find it disgusting, maybe something is wrong with you people. All right? Let's take a look at this other clip.
Citing that as one of delivers legislation. And I see that the Prime Minister citing that as one of 5 examples of the slow pace at which the government delivers legislation. And I see that the Prime Minister rushed to bring it to Parliament on Thursday after I spoke on Tuesday. It was in long form, which means it hasn't gone through the government printing office yet to be printed. So, it was obviously, there was some urgency to respond to what I said. But that's good. I mean, it's a step forward, and we'll be looking at it carefully to see what it does and what it doesn't do.
You said you haven't looked at it in detail, but have a glance. Does it give you a better idea as to how the reconstruction work is going to happen?
Not really. It's a framework. It's a framework document, so it deals with how the authority is constituted, what its objects are, its functions, etc. But the actual work that it will be undertaking, the resources that are available to it, and the time frame that it will be executing its work over, all of that remains to be seen. What I did notice in the Prime Minister's presentation was that he spent a lot of time talking about various projects, and I was a little surprised he didn't spend more time actually talking about reconstruction that's going to impact people who have been very badly impacted by the hurricane themselves. The tens of thousands of Jamaicans who have had houses destroyed or very badly damaged. The roofs program, which was funded out of the budget for this year, that's coming to an end with $10 billion, not even a third of 1% of GDP. That has really scratched the surface in terms of trying to get people back into habitable shelter. And the current budget didn't really address that issue, and the Prime Minister ignored it largely. So I was surprised at that. I thought.
So I wanted to play the entire thing, but something just jumped out at me. Why is this man so misleading and disingenuous, and I don't know. So he just mentioned the roof program and stated that that is supposed to be funded from this year budget. And a third of that and yada yada yada, and that can help put people into habitable. Now, you see the confusion there? And he's intentionally doing that. People, the roof program is to help people who lost maybe all the roof, partial loss, or minimum damage. So why is this man saying that 10 whatever million, 10 billion, whatever it is, cannot put back people into their home? Let's listen again so we don't get it wrong.
Very badly impacted by the hurricane themselves. Spent a lot of time talking about various projects, and I was a little surprised he didn't spend more time actually talking about reconstruction that's going to impact people who have been very badly impacted by the hurricane themselves. The tens of thousands of Jamaicans who have had houses destroyed or very badly damaged. The roofs program, which was funded out of the budget for this year, that's coming to an end with $10 billion, not even a third of 1% of GDP. That has really scratched the surface in terms of trying to get people back into habitable shelter. And the current budget didn't really address that issue, and the Prime Minister ignored it largely. So I was surprised at that. I thought he would have focused very much on what needs to happen this fiscal year coming.
However, and you guys hear me play it last week, their economist that's saying the exact thing that he's criticizing the government for, he did not do it. Because, as they put it, his speech was like a campaigning speech. Also, it was more geared towards a futuristic situation. But you see, all people can wrong, because when one finger point and I say kude, the rest is pointing back at you. Now, why Mark, and I heard, and I'm going to try to find it to play, the government senator, Marlon Morgan, was questioning why we haven't heard from the PNP about any money. And I was told today by UpMax on my live I did that the page is still up where the PNP has been collecting money for, as they put it, Melissa recovery. However, I have a recording from TikTok where a PNP told me that when he was given the chance to give, when he was sharing, when he was donating on the site, he knew that the money wasn't for Melissa relief. It was going to the PNP, and the PNP have all right to do whatever they want to do with it. That's what the man actually boldly told me on a live. Right? And his argument was that the PNP offered themselves September 3rd, and the Jamaican people chose the other side. Now, somebody with sense would say, make it make sense. Because we're talking about a natural disaster that came 2 months, well, a month, I said 2 months, September, October, a month after the election. So how now you're saying you're blaming the people for not choosing? I hear some people say something and I believe 2020 and 2025, when the Jamaican people decided that they want to, and they will, and they have voted in Dr. Andrew Michael Holness to be their prime minister, they dodged several bullets. Not a bullet, several. When somebody that support the opposition come out and say, we knew that although it is called, you know that remind me of? That remind me of that ambassador that stated that we have formed some civil society group and we call them civil society. But I made sure to pack them up with PNP. And I say so. I say if she go sue me like how Katie Knight threatened to sue Dr. Tufton because an audio that everybody heard before it was played at the campaign rally. But Dr. Tufton said, I know me say so. I heard it in her own voice. Maybe she will pull that to say that was the case. Right? Why is it that Julian or Mark or the PNP themselves up to date have not shared with the Jamaican people if they have collected any money at all? Because it can be two ways, you know. I've seen events which I'm familiar with where the advertiser show, and because the pre-sold ticket sale did not get up to where they were expecting, they have postponed the show to lengthen the ticket sale. So it could be a case, and I hope I'm not giving the PNP any talking point here. It could be a case where nobody have been given. Or there are people who are smart enough to say, I'll do me like the PNP and I support the PNP, but why should I give my money to the PNP and they're in opposition? Wouldn't it better to give it to the government? You think there are people that think like that, rational, yeah, maybe. So Mark Golden, why the PNP still have up the page with the information where they're actually still begging money? But the point I'm making is Mark did not spend any time to talk about that. He did not update the nation or inform the nation that the PMP portal have collected XYZ amount. And the same lady that Julian alluded to from Dongasav with our shop, and the person in St. James who don't have no light or whatever the case may be, we didn't hear that the PMP did this or did that. So is it fair for us to say they haven't done anything? Let's continue with this clip. No, I'm going to pull it up so we can get this man again saying that the money, the roof program cannot put people back into habitable houses. Let's listen.
The time frame that it will be executing its work over, all of that remains to be seen. You know, what I did notice in the Prime Minister's presentation was that he spent a lot of time talking about various projects, you know, and I was a little surprised he didn't spend more time actually talking about reconstruction that's going to impact people who have been very badly impacted by the hurricane themselves. You know, the tens of thousands of Jamaicans who have had houses destroyed or very badly damaged. The roofs program, which was funded out of the budget for this year that's coming to an end with $10 billion, not even a third of 1% of GDP, that has really scratched the surface in terms of trying to get people back into habitable shelter. And the current budget didn't really address that issue, and the Prime Minister ignored it largely. So I was surprised at that. You know, I thought he would have focused very much on what needs to happen this fiscal year coming, because that is the situation of crisis in the country, especially in Western Jamaica. It was, you know, hearing all these plans, some of which we've heard before about, you know, bypass roads and what have you. I mean, you know, that wasn't really what I was looking for from the budget. But we will see. You know, there have been so many promises in the past which haven't been delivered on. We still haven't even finished the South Coast Highway project from Harborview going around to Port Antonio. That's still incomplete. The building, the urban center, which was opened months before the election was called, it's still not complete. So, you know, I'm not optimistic about the execution of projects by this government.
Let's go to a clip now with the Prime Minister speaking about NARA in Parliament last Thursday.
We must, as a country, confront an uncomfortable reality. While Jamaica has built one of the most credible macroeconomic frameworks in the developing world, the execution of large investment projects too often moves at a pace that belongs in another era.
So that's
citing that as one of 5 examples.
Yep. So, let me say good evening and welcome to my show. My name is David Phillips. I heard somebody the other day. This I keep on repeating it, calling out my name on a TikTok live, and I'm like, oh my God, he knows my name. No, like, bro, I've been doing this for 20 years now. Yeah, started 20, not 20, but 06. So yes, yeah. So yeah, you don't know nothing special because you know my name. But that wasn't the clip I was alluding to when I said this man is despicable, disgusting. And if you don't find anything wrong with this clip, or if this clip haven't proven that Mark is unfit to be the leader of the opposition, again, I'll say in my promo, maybe he's fit to be the president of the People's National Party or what is left of it. I think the smarter people are actually jumping ship before it comes to a total wreck. I don't think it's fully wrecked as yet. I don't think it has. But there are signs that show that this man is not fit. So fit, not physically or mentally. Got to be easy. All right. So yeah. So this clip, the only way you don't find anything wrong with it is if you're a PNP. And we know, and I've been saying it with no intention of apologize. I'm yet to see something or somebody confront me to make me want to withdraw this. The PNP is a cult. So let's go to this clip.
We have, Mr. Golding, and there's so many other issues we could go into, but we're going to do things a little differently for the final few minutes of this program. We call this segment the Fact or Fiction. We're going to give you these cards. This means you are indifferent to the answer. You're not so sure about what the answer should be. This has usually meant no, you disagree with the answer being given, and this means you are in agreement. We should say we are using these colors because this is globally accepted. Green means.
Well, I'm sure my opponents will take a screenshot of me holding a green flag and use it to their political advantage. We'll proceed. Go ahead.
Okay, let's bring it up on screen. Fact or spin? The first one. The opposition plan sounds good, but is economically risky.
Well, we are committed to the fiscal responsibility framework, which we implemented in 2013 in its current form. But we also recognize that for Jamaica to get out of the woods now, at a time when our productive capacity has been badly damaged by a Category 5 hurricane, it requires the state to take a proactive stance towards getting the economy back into a positive trajectory. And so we feel that the way that the government has crafted this budget for the coming fiscal year doesn't really achieve that, because they've imposed $18 billion, I think it is, of new taxes, and they're continuing to take money out of the major housing agency when housing is a big problem and there should be massive investment in housing going on. And what we're hearing about is road bypass projects that are going to come on stream over the next 2 to 3 years and so on. So no, I don't agree with that little thing that was on the screen there.
Okay, remember it's quick answers, all right, Mr. Golding? So 20 seconds or less.
20 seconds.
Next one, fact or fiction? And these were taken from what the fact or spin, what the Prime Minister said last week. Jamaica secured US $6.7 billion faster than ever before. Proof the economy is strong. Is this fact or spin?
Well, the multilaterals, I can't bother the green thing, but the multilaterals came with a package, which I think it is true that Jamaica's achievements over the last 15 years have put us in a position where we're able to raise resources. But bear in mind, 2.4 billion, I think it is, out of that 6.7 has to be sourced from the private sector. It's not a given. It's just the multilaterals have said they're going to try and help to mobilize those resources, but they're not providing those resources. That's not yet committed to Jamaica.
Fact or spin? The next one then. Jamaica has basically achieved full employment. Fact or spin?
That is whatever this means. The truth is that the
partially agree.
Yeah, no, it is true that the formal unemployment statistics show that we have reached close to full employment, but that measures informal employment. So you only have to be employed 1 hour per week to be treated as being formally employed, and many of the workers don't have the kind of benefits that formal employment bring in terms of things like vacation leave and a pension arrangement and so on. So the employment statistics.
Other issues we could go into, but we're going to do things a little differently for the final few minutes of this program. We call this segment the Fact or Fiction. We're going to give you these cards. This means you are indifferent to the answer. You're not so sure about what the answer should be. This has usually meant no, you disagree with the answer being given, and this means you are in agreement. We should say we are using these colors because this is globally accepted. Green means.
Well, I'm sure my opponents will take a screenshot of me holding a green flag and use it to their political advantage. We'll proceed. Go ahead.
Okay, let's bring it up on screen. Fact or spin? The first one. The opposition plan sounds good, but is economically risky.
Well, we are committed to the fiscal responsibility framework, which we implemented in 2013 in its current form. But we also recognize that for Jamaica to get out of the woods now, at a time when our productive capacity has been badly damaged by a Category 5 hurricane, it requires the state to take a proactive stance towards getting the economy back into a positive trajectory. And so we feel that the way that the government has crafted this budget for the coming fiscal year doesn't really achieve that, because they've imposed $18 billion, I think it is, of new taxes, and they're continuing to take money out of the major housing agency when housing is a big problem and there should be massive investment in housing going on. And what we're hearing about is road bypass projects that are going to come on stream over the next 2 to 3 years and so on. So no, I don't agree with that little thing that was on the screen there.
Okay, remember it's quick answers, all right, Mr. Gooding, so 20 seconds or less.
20 seconds.
Next one, fact or fiction? And these were taken from what the fact or spin, what the Prime Minister said last week. Jamaica secured US $6.7 billion faster than ever before. Proof the economy is strong. Is this fact or spin?
Well, the multilaterals,
Which you have to
I can't bother the green thing, but the multilaterals came with a package, which I think it is true that Jamaica's achievements over the last 15 years have put us in a position.
Him can't bother with the green. So we can't bother with Mark Golding either. Now, I need to prove you guys need any more proof? So we saw, and they say people are making a big deal of nothing. When he showed that maybe he had some shares into the yellow uniform, but not bodyguard, security guard. Yeah, they look like one of them. Remember that picture? And the PMP say it's people are making a big deal out of nothing. This man has proven that he will not recognize a color that is in our flag. So why should we respect this man? Why? Every time he get a chance to be disrespectful to our country, I think he has taken that opportunity. You are at an interview that you agree to, because I would hate to know that he was forced to do this. Natalie pointed out today, big up yourself, Natalie, on my TikTok live, that if you guys notice that he's making some rounds on the entertainment podcasts or shows, not taking on any real political, debate. He's going places where people will just suck up to him, because the sad truth is, and I know I'm going to ruffle the PMP feathers, and a question was asked, and I think it was Anisha's live on TikTok Saturday morning. What you think are some of the reasons why this man can go and challenge, say anything him feel like, do anything him feel like, and it seems like nobody question it, no one challenging or anything like that? And my answer was, we have to blame the church for that. I do believe that there are Jamaicans who feel that white is right. Yes. So when this man says, after his finance shadow spokesperson stood up and say, we on this side welcome the increase to the parliamentarians. Right? And it took Mark 2 weeks to come out and say something about it. And he went on to say he was going to donate a percentage of the increase to charity. I am yet to hear him actually share which charity. I heard some of his, I don't know what to call them, and I'm trying to be nice tonight. People, followers, fellow cult members, giving names to say, yes, he has donated to XYZ, but we don't have no proof to that. Neither or it's neither? Do we know how much money he has claimed to donate? Why everything this man does is in secrecy? But again, not in my intention to upset anybody or piss you off, as Americans say. But I do believe that this man enjoys a level of, what the word that them use? What is the word? Privileges. Yes. I do believe that this man enjoys some white privileges. When this man can go on a podcast and say, when I'm going to the UK, I have to apply like all of you and go up to the British High Commissioner office, stand in a line just like you to get a visa to go to UK. And nobody questioned that. Because what? Why? Tell me why nobody questioned it. Because let's just be logical. I'm an American. And if I choose to go and reside in Jamaica, and I wanted to come back to America for whatever reason, visit, repatriate, whatever it is, would I need to go to the US Embassy and apply for a visa? Make it make sense. No. So that was a lie, Mr. Golden. You lied. Was it Nightly Fix? Which one of those podcasts he was on? I think it was. And he stated that whenever he wants to go to the UK, he must go up to the British High Commissioner and High Commission and stand in line just like lies. And you tell a lie like that and it just goes. Nobody question it. In the debate prior to the September 3rd election, he looked over to the Prime Minister and said, you're unconscionable because you have given yourself and your cabinet. Yes, him say him donate 300,000 to teachers and nurses. So when since teachers and nurses became charity, a lot of black Jamaicans see the whites as superior. Full stop. Good point. Look over to the Prime Minister and say, you're unconscionable because you gave yourself and your cabinet 230%, and is sycophant still saying 300% increase. So although him state the exact figure, they're still saying something else. And again, every time I mention that, I have to show and point out how dishonest these people are. Because the Prime Minister cannot get up tomorrow morning and say, I want $1 more on my pay and get it. So it is a lie from the pit of hell that the Prime Minister gave himself and his cabinet. In fact, all parliamentarians got an increase. And as the Prime Minister stated in his presentation, budget presentation, there were PNP NP who told the Prime Minister not to listen to Dayton Campbell and Mark Golden now talking them crap because they needed the money. Yes, he was saying the same thing too, but maybe he thought that one of the journalists would have had the balls, for lack of a better expression, to question it. Because in truth and in fact, the only person on radio I hear every time somebody tell a lie, pull it back. Well, I should say was on radio. Dr. Gale, Herbert Gale. Every time when people came with the 300% or the 250%, he said no. It was 230. So I don't know if that was a fear factor from Mark to say, Let me not repeat the lie that we have been spreading on the campaign trail, saying that the prime minister. But again, just for the, I know you guys are bright because dunce people don't listen to me. I know that. If they did, you will see it in the comment section and you will see the backlash. You know, those that you can't teach nothing. But was it only the prime minister and his cabinet that got a raise? This is why they can't talk to me, because I proved them wrong. It was not. So why would you come on a platform, come on a stage to tell such a blatant lie? And to show you that this man, I do believe, exercises his white privilege. We saw just weeks ago when he was supposed to make his contribution to the budget debate, he used this time to talk about even the late Dr. Lyndale Bloomfield that was murdered in his house, that Nationwide News reported that he was found in his bathroom. And it upset me to talk about this because I had no problem with Dr. Bloomfield. Dr. Bloomfield was my MP, right? And when they say rest in peace, we should be doing this. But again, I realize that it is bloggers who are giving Mark Golding his talking points. So there's one from Portland who have been saying this ever since. Upset because Dr. Bloomfield did not get an official state funeral. And he should have, because he was a sitting parliamentarian at the time. This man even goes as far and saying, based on police reports, it was more than one DNA that was found. Nationwide News says that used condoms were found in the bathroom, and that's where the police got the DNA from. You guys can deduce what you want from that. How that end up into a budget presentation? Mark Golden, you're clear to elaborate? Again, he brought up the salary, and I don't know if the bloggers didn't tell him exactly how to word it, but what bloggers, vloggers, whatever they call them, was saying is that the prime minister is unconscionable because he chose to accept the raise, or not to accept, to take the raise after Melissa. I don't know if it's a case where truth just have to jump out. But what he said in Parliament is that the Prime Minister started taking his salary the September month-end payday. Again, to me, if this is not white privilege, I don't know what it is. Because the fact that you, Mark Golden, started accepting the increase, the $27 million, 2023. And I don't know if it's something about the labor rights, because I remember when the increase was given when Bruce was Prime Minister, Bruce did not accept it. And if my memory serves me well, didn't he tell the parliamentarians to not accept a certain percentage as well? Wasn't it? So the Prime Minister, although he did not give himself and the parliamentarians an increase, decided that I'm not taking the increase. However, he stated that whosoever gets the mandate from the people of Jamaica will be able to choose what is it that they want to do. Good evening, David. How are you doing? Whether it's to accept it or not accept it. So what ruled the Prime Minister out of that? Because again, I hear Madam Speaker say it on TikTok, and that is a simple put. If Jamaica was so upset, and let's go with the Prime Minister, not the Prime Minister, let's go with the leader of the opposition's lie. Because that's what it is. I'm not going to nice up this thing anymore and talk about, oh, he was being disingenuous. No, lie. That's what it was. If the Prime Minister gave himself the raise and the Jamaican people had a problem with him or with that, would they have given him a new mandate to say, we trust you? It is ironic because when I listen to even Don Anderson poll, and when they ask people who say they are voting for the PNP and Mark Golding, when the question is asked, who you think is better to lead Jamaica to a better place, the same PNP them say, Andrew Holness. So make it make sense. So with the 14 seaters gone to them that they have gotten, we have to wonder, what is it that those people saw? Which takes me to something else. Westmoreland has 3 constituencies, and they all voted out the JLP for the PNP, which didn't come as no shock to Dr. Chang. He knew. There are places in Westmoreland that the first time grandparents have witnessed road rehabilitation was under Andrew Holness. Never before. There were places up to last night I was listening to Scrub cleaning services on TikTok. What's your new page, Scrub? Tell me, let me shout it out for you. Recalling how she was the one that spoke at her grandmother, gave the eulogy at her grandmother's funeral. And she went up with her paper to read. She knew her grandmother better than it. But something that stood out and she was sharing is that as a little girl, they had to go and fetch water. And her grandmother will have the buckets and the cutter. If you don't know what's a cutter, you need to do some searching and get back in touch with your Jamaican history. It's a cushion, a lot of times made from fabric. Or if you're familiar with going to bush or ground, cutter is also made from banana leaf. Sister, me a real Jamaican. Mark Golding don't know that. Yes, and her grandmother would have her cutter, and somebody at the well or wherever they went for the water had to, assist you to put the bucket on your head. And Scrub says as a little girl, she had her 2 little bottles because that was a thing that was normal. There are a lot of Jamaicans right now that their parents had to do it and them come up and not do it. And when I say not do it, I mean they're refusing to. They don't know that lifestyle. Never had to carry water on their heads. But yet still people are telling me that Jamaica is at the worst it has ever been. These people are living in an opposite land, an opposite country. So everything good that the Prime Minister put forward, PNP say it's bad. Which caused me to wonder if I should listen to these people. Because how can you say all of the gain that this administration have had is because of the work that has been done by the previous PNP administration, but you turn around and say, no, make it make sense. Make it make sense. For those of you just joining, I'm trying to assess if Mark Golding is fit to be the opposition leader. Is this man fit to be talking in the parliament that we should listen? Just again, you guys look into it. Why, whenever this man is in parliament, he has to be sitting on his phone? Can we, the people, let them know that we want to ban just because of Mark Golden? Can we tell them that we want them to ban cell phones? And I wouldn't say all mobile devices, because we have seen tablets and laptops and stuff being used to make presentation. Can we ban Mark? Let's be specific. Can we take away this white man privilege and normalize him because he says a Jamaican? Can we ban Mark Golden's phone? We're not paying you to go into parliament and sit and fiddle your thumb. We're not paying you for that, sir. And I want somebody to tell me, apart from that the Constitution allows it, I would like somebody to tell me, why are we paying this man $27 million? So back to the budget. Exercising white privilege again, Mark Golden brought up the Prime Minister's salary. And I'm going to prove it again that Mark gets his talking point from the internet. Because I was on a live and hear the resurfacing argument about the Prime Minister's salary. I know he's unconscionable because at a time like this, I heard one idiot, and I don't call people idiots very often. He was on a live on TikTok saying, and of course it was a PNP live, saying that this is going to cost the Jamaican people more now to pay the Prime Minister. And I just laugh because I'm like, okay, this was put in place. So there's no shock to the budget because the Prime Minister has now decided to accept the Prime Minister's salary. That the PNP stood up. One man tried to convince me that no, Julian wasn't talking on behalf of the party. So like Favour said, and I played the clip earlier, it seems as if the right hand has no idea what the left hand is doing. According to a viewer here, let me highlight it. It's a slave master mentality the opposition leader has. Let's prove that. See me tell you, beer bright people watch my show. Idiots don't watch my show. You notice nobody now cussing in the comment section. I don't really check TikTok, but because what part something. Because TikTok, yeah, but I not seen a full comment over here up on YouTube. Who can recall a Sunday night they put a chain around a black man's neck, only to see a white man coming onto the stage with a key to unlock the chain? So these wicked black PNP men, and maybe women, put a chain around a black man's neck. I hear Simon said that was bad political theater. That is a nice way to put it. That's a mild way to put it. It was just wrong, distasteful. So when you say, David, it is the slave master's mentality, maybe Mark himself didn't even come up with that. But his supporters, his sycophants, people who, and trust me, every time I think about it, it just upset me all over. Let me do what the PNP them say anytime them have technical difficulties. Them say, and you know why them talky things them, so that's why YouTubers, please let me know if I'm back on. I just see a message come up on my screen saying my stream ended unexpectedly. Still seeing the numbers. Anybody? YouTube, let me know. I'm still seeing 30-something people there. I need to scroll. Okay. All past Prime Minister will receive the similar pay that the current prime minister. Well, David, let me correct that. Not the pay. They were receiving the prime minister pay as pension or their, yes, I'm back. Thank you very much. Or their surviving spouse. Right? Mark Golden has proven time and time again that he is unfit to be our leader. That speech in the budget debate wasn't for Jamaica. That speech was a pitch to the delegates of the PNP to say, keep a white man at the front of the line. Keep me as your president because we got 14 more seats. And it's going to sound funny I say this. You know that I think that Dr. My namesake Peter Phillips was a better leader. Tell me when in history have we seen this antagonistic, check the sound, when have we seen this level of antagonistic, what is wrong with the sound, from the opposition? Everybody knows about you're the opposition, you're the prime minister, and they work with it. This man, Mark Golden, is not fit. I was reading a while ago. So let me read what the comments say. Mark Golden is not fit. You're okay on YouTube. All right, thank you. Mark Golden is not fit to walk a dog. That is a comment here. I'm not making it up. Let me highlight it. Views expressed aren't necessarily those of Damian Phillips. Yeah. This man has demonstrated time and time and time again that one, if you ask me, this is my opinion, him don't like Jamaica. He does not consider himself as a Jamaican. And I don't want to say the others. Thanks to Minister Vaz that pointed out that this man at some point had to renew his British passport. Because passport don't last for a lifetime. Right? So first he stated that he got his British citizenship from his dad. Mark Golden, what have you done to maintain that British passport? Simple. You have to apply for it. You have to apply for it. But again, I think this man has been allowed to prove that Bob Marley was right when he said, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. I believe that everybody we say them want Mark to be them leader and Mark to be the prime minister, they're still enslaved. And they have bought into the idea that Mark has the key. It's as simple as that. So that skit, again, I want to believe that it wasn't Mark that came up with the idea to put, what was the gentleman's name? Big Stone? Is he still alive? I heard that he had some, I saw it reported that he had some medical issues. Is he still battling or what? Has he transitioned as yet? I do not believe that it was Mark Golden that came up with that crappy idea. No, man, me not think so. Mark must be smarter than that, must be brighter than that. I believe it was the same black people who believe in worshiping everything other than their own will talk the worst about their own, but not about anybody else, that came up with this idea to say, you know, I think this is a brilliant idea. Let's put a chain, Caution. Were you one of them that planned that skit, Caution? Talk to me. I see you shaking your head there. Let's put a chain on a black man's neck and give a white man, and they hate when I talk the truth, but go and check it. And let me juxtapose. Siaga wasn't white. Oh, he's still alive? Okay, glory be to God. Somebody say Big Stone is still alive. Wonder if Mark is using some of the donation money from the opposition leader of transparency. Wonder if the PNP is helping out people like a Big Stone or a John Pollock. That from time to time I hear that have some medical issues. Wonder if apart from buying phone calls for like John to call radio station, wonder if they're using the Melissa relief to help. There's an echo. I don't know why, because I'm not connected to the road. But yes, so be upset all you want. We have seen it. And when you have a man that, again, like I say, this term, prime minister in waiting, it's kind of bothersome. When you have a, but me I go use it because even the finance minister used the term prime minister in waiting. When we have a prime minister in waiting, refuse to touch a piece of green paper, and we know that green is in our flag, how petty that this man.
Call this segment the Fact or Fiction. We're going to give you these cards. We have Mr. Golden issues we could go into, but we're going to do things a little differently for the final few minutes of this program. We call this segment the Fact or Fiction. We're going to give you these cards. This means you are indifferent to the answer. You're not so sure about what the answer should be. This has usually meant no, you disagree with the answer being given, and this means you are in agreement. We should say we are using these colors because this is globally accepted. Green means.
Well, I'm sure my opponents will take a screenshot of me holding a green flag and use it to their political advantage. We'll proceed. Go ahead.
Okay, let's bring it up on screen. Fact or spin? The first one. The opposition plan sounds good, but is economically risky.
Well, we are committed to the fiscal responsibility framework, which we implemented in 2013 in its current form. But we also recognize that for Jamaica to get out of the woods now, at a time when our productive capacity has been badly damaged by a Category 5 hurricane, it requires the state to take a proactive stance towards getting the economy back into a positive trajectory. And so we feel that the way that the government has crafted this budget for the coming fiscal year doesn't really achieve that, because they've imposed $18 billion, I think it is, of new taxes, and they're continuing to take money out of the major housing agency when housing is a big problem and there should be massive investment in housing going on. And what we're hearing about is road bypass projects that are going to come on stream over the next 2 to 3 years and so on. So no, I don't agree with that little thing that was on.
Remember, it's quick answers. I'm going to 20 seconds.
20 seconds.
Next one, fact or fiction? And these were taken from what the fact or spin, what the Prime Minister said last week. Jamaica secured US $6.7 billion faster than ever before. Proof the economy is strong. Is this fact or spin?
Well, the multilateral.
Which you have to
I can't bother the green thing, but the multi.
The man say, can't bother the green foolishness. Yep. He had no problem taking up the red. He had no problem taking up the yellow. But he had a problem, just like we have seen it in the past, even wearing something green. You want a more man pettier than this? But as I go, my final clip for you guys this evening. What is happening? Has the PMP lost one of the brightest minds? Let's take a look. Let's take a look. Hold on a little bit. Performance warning, sharing multiple screen may affect your machine. All right. So let's go to performance warning. Why did I get a performance warning? I'm sure my device can handle it. What you talking about?
So you're free to talk your mind, what you feel is the best thing. And I said that it is better to approach it from the SCT point of view. And that was the end of my political career. So once you say something different from what they are saying to them, you know, with them. You know mean them no harm. You're not really business with them. I country business with. But them as a leader have
that
ego in
input.
them.
But I didn't know that
so.
it was a group thing where if it not align with mine or it not align with yours, then it just write me off.
I saw them do it.
With that being said, will you say that
Did
A
somebody
pace like facts in a politics, brother. Me tell you right now. So me know with my bright self, go parliament, them say is what they call state of the nation. So you're free to talk your mind, what you feel is the best thing. And I said that it is better to approach it from the SCT point of view. And that was the end of my political career. So once you say something different from what they are saying to them, you know, with them. You know mean them no harm. You're not really business with them. I country business with. But them as a leader have
that
ego
input?
in them.
But I didn't know
feel
that
so.
it was a group thing where if it not align with mine or it not align with yours, then it just write me off.
I saw them do it.
With that being said, will you say that them not mean the country any good?
3/4 of them, I mean, they're not self-centered, my lord. 3/4 of man, them when you see them in our politics, them self-centered. Them only mean they self-good.
Why are youngsters building less towards their future but only living in the moment?
Right now, the world is filled with global uncertainty. So there's a lot of global geopolitical occurrences, a lot of global geoeconomic occurrences. And this uncertainty forces people to think less long term. So a man is on the corner, from him wake up, him can access right facts in a politics, brother.
Dr. Martin? So what is going on? And people, I tell you no, YouTube, that is where the sensible comments are. I've seen some not so sensible ones on TikTok, but that is all right. That is the place for it. Yeah, man, keep those comments coming. Yes. What is going on with that? Somebody said I should play Rosie. Yeah, when we were playing Lawrence Rowe, I don't never I want to say left it is down top, but yeah, you see how life go. Yeah, man. Can't wait to see the back of that condescending slave master, white man. He is the worst opposition leader Jamaica has ever seen. He will never get over September 3rd. I agree. Dito. Yeah, man. So again, in closing, Mark Golden's speech wasn't to Jamaica. It wasn't to inspire Jamaica after we experienced the worst hurricane on record in recent years. It wasn't to inspire us, because if that was the case, what is brother name? Marcel, the opposition want to be prime minister, would have shared with the nation that the PMP have collected XYZ amount of money and make the government look bad, saying that no, you guys not doing what you're supposed to be doing. So we have spent XYZ, we have put back people in house, we have done that. That is what Mark Golding should have done. But if they're not spending the money, well, me can't say they can't say it because we know that them full of lies. If the PMP is not good at anything else, the PMP is good at telling lies. We know that of a fact. No two way about it. Yep. No two ways about it. So, one more, right? One drop, one more. This is going to tie into what I was alluding to. Let's go, let's go, let's go.
With us the plight of Margaret in Savannah Lamar, whose shop, he said, was destroyed by hurricane. Considerable hardship as a result of Hurricane Melissa. How much of the money raised by the PNP's Hurricane Melissa Relief Fund have they given in humanitarian aid to the people sleeping in the cars? Indeed, during his contribution to the debate, Julian Robinson shared with us the plight of Miss Margaret in Savannah Lamar, whose shop, he said, was destroyed by Hurricane Melissa, and James in Montego Bay, who he said runs a small transport business and suffered tremendous loss as a result of Hurricane Melissa-related damage to his vehicle. Mr. President, the Jamaican people will recall that at a time, as Senator Sinclair said just now, when every Jamaican should have been standing in one accord, demonstrating solidarity with the country's centralized and streamlined efforts to mobilize post-Hurricane Melissa relief support and raise funds via the Support Jamaica platform. The opposition PNP went about setting up their own fundraising platform, a parallel and competing portal dubbed, quote, PNP Hurricane Melissa Relief, end quote. In a rank and vulgar exhibition of party considerations over country, the opposition PNP, Mr. President, and its supporters have invariably diverted support that could otherwise have gone to Jamaica in terms of the Support Jamaica platform to their own platform, which was a party-related initiative. Now, the question is, since the opposition PNP is so keen on telling us about people sleeping in cars and enduring considerable hardship as a result of Hurricane Melissa, how much of the money raised by the PNP's Hurricane Melissa Relief Fund have they given in humanitarian aid to the people sleeping in the cars? How much of the money raised by the PNP has Julian Robinson and Mark Golding made available to Miss Margaret from Savannah Lamar or James from Montego Bay? I urge the people of Jamaica, Mr. President, to take sleep and mark death. Mr. President, the difference between us on this side and the members on that side is that we on this side put our money where our mouth is. They are talk, we are substance. Considerable hardship as a result of Hurricane Melissa. How much of the money raised by
people, I'm going to send you a bill here. I use them slogan about, we're talk, we're substance. Remember that tagline there? Yeah. So, again, Marcel, can you tell me why we didn't hear anything from the PMP read the money? I would like to know. With that being said, let me thank you guys very much for being here with me this evening. Hope you enjoy the show. Remember, we're here every Monday night from 9 o'clock And this is where we discuss politics. I always say, if you can't be good, please be careful.
DP stands for Damian Phillips. All who never knew get with it. So if you see a girl's phone and it's my name DP, don't feel no way, adjust the habit. Politics, it doesn't matter, me I go talk. Bringing light to the lost so you will get it. DP is my name, please don't spoil it. Big up Portland, St. Thomas, Jamaica and America. Come listen my show. On the corner me I bring, come chat. Voice your concerns. As I share everything, just know it's a general knowledge. Views expressed, you know the rest. Come chat with DP. Call me Damian Phillips. Yeah. So if you see your girl's phone and it's my name DP, don't feel no way, adjust the habits.